I am going to try and tell the saga of what happened with this Nissan Pathfinder. Last time I was videoing about this Pathfinder, it was driving fairly well. I drove it home that night, put in some fuel injection cleaner, new gas because I knew it had been sitting, all the other things that we talked about before. And then the next morning I drove it for a minute, and then the following day I drove it again, and all of a sudden it started to miss more and more and more. So I had probably driven a couple miles and it all of a sudden died on me, and I coasted into a parking lot and found that same fuse that I had found previously blown. I found it bad, so I replaced it so I could kind of get home and either tow it or do whatever I was going to do. I made it not very far at all, and it died again. So this is, I guess, where I got desperate and I stuck in because I'd run out of the 10 amp fuses. So I took a 15 amp, which you're supposed to keep the same amperage on a circuit as it's rated for. I put in the 15 amp fuse, and not even 20 or 30 seconds later I had some smoke and wiring and stuff burning. I'm going to show you what happened. I got stranded and had to tow it, but how am I going to get this? So it was this one right here. I think it's number 2. I've torn down the wiring to check to see if there was anything more than this melting right there in the center. And then it also melted my ignition coil. And then after that, I pulled it out, unplugged it, trying to just get home on the 5 cylinders. But I think this is like the main one. It's different than all the others. And I don't know what it has in it, that some sort of circuit that maybe it runs through it in series or something and makes the others run. So then I started to try and find out why. I talked to you before about how it looked like somebody had done something pretty funky here. Turns out this is possible that was original. I don't know. It doesn't look like other Nissan plugs that I know of, but started to kind of research. Like I said, I found this was cut, and I think originally they probably had this problem, whoever was doing this. Let's see, working on it. And so I think they figured that was a ground. I don't know. So they tried to ground it here because that's going to a ground, and maybe they figured that didn't work and it needed to be timed, and maybe they researched and thought that this first cylinder and the back one fired at the same time. I have no idea. So they ran this one back here to the back cylinder. I'm gonna have to pull all that back apart to see how they had that hooked up. And they bypassed a thing called a suppressor, or maybe you call it a condenser. So that would go right here. I just got back from a wrecking yard, and you can see this. So it's red and black also, the wire. So it's the same color of wire, but somebody had cut it out. I don't know if you can see right here. I had to be a private investigator to figure this out. So this would go here, and it's hidden underneath the wiring. And it's kind of like a thing that protects it from the surges of the coil, so that when it sends a lot of power through the coils, I don't know, it protects the electrical system. So what I'm going to do is I have a new, it's not new, but I'm going to replace that pigtail there with this one. I'm just going to wire that in, and then I'm going to wire this one in. It's just a wrecking yard condenser suppressor, which whatever, it just protects it from the electrical spikes. I'm going to rewire this, and I'm going to try and find out if these wires, if they're damaged anywhere along the line going to the coil pack. And my worst case scenario, if I rewire this and it's damaged because I had in a larger fuse, or it burnt something else. I don't know, but I think it might be possible it damaged the computer. So I will show you a little bit more about this one after I get it back torn down and everything. But anyway, I wish I would have videoed it, but it was kind of stressful and I had so much stuff going on, I really couldn't. I had a nice person, I guess, saw me from their home and came out and helped push me into a parking lot so I could come get it later. So I'm going to follow up on this story and let you know what happens, because originally, like I say, it was running, just got worse and worse, and I guess this, its capacity to, I don't know, sustain the heat or something, obviously it made it go bad. But anyway, so I'll try and follow up on that story, and then I have another one I'm going to tell you here really quick. I'm going to turn this off and then turn it back on.